Next match was, in my opinion, one of the greatest matches that I've ever seen come out of the WWE. I mean, I'm really not that big of a WWE fan. But WWE killed a lot of companies that I held dear, but Undertaker versus Triple H was incredible. I believe there were... Yes, I am. ECW was a martyr of free professional wrestling. I know, that he shouldn't have just let it die. But anyways, Undertaker and Triple H, this match in a Hell in a Cell easily topped last year's match. I mean, this match made last year's WrestleMania match, the No Holds Barred match, look more like a sparring session than anything. I mean, there were so many chair shots from both men, I lost count. Undertaker shaved off his hair. Triple H ended up losing again. Shawn Michaels was knocked unconscious. Another referee was chokeslammed. It was a great show and a great match, and I really enjoyed it. Your thoughts, guys?
Well, the last couple of WrestleManias that involved the Undertaker were really good. I mean, the last two with Shawn Michaels, they were probably one of the best matches I've ever seen. And probably the last two again with Undertaker and Triple H, probably not as good as Shawn Michaels as the one against Shawn Michaels, but they were still pretty good. I just enjoyed watching them beat the hell out of each other.
You know, I went in, I thought, when I saw this match, and I saw that Shawn Michaels was going to be the special guest referee, I actually thought that Shawn Michaels, through his being part of DX for many, many years with Triple H, would intentionally try to screw the Undertaker. But that's not the case. When Triple H was wailing on the Undertaker with those chairs, Shawn Michaels actually was taking away the chairs, taking away the sledgehammer. And I actually think, to the best of his ability, that Shawn Michaels called it down the middle. Did anybody else think that he was going to try to screw the Undertaker?
Dude, after a while, he just looked like a small child witnessing his parents' domestic disturbances.
Shawn Michaels will be in therapy for a very long time.
Yeah, there's just a one. You can see the welts on Taker's back. I mean, once he pulled down his shirt, to do his thing, not a pretty sight. And you could also add at least the Spanish announce table made it out of this because they never left the cage, which I was hoping they do, but they pretty much kept it inside the Hell in a Cell. So it's kind of. But Taker used the cell, used the stairs. They used everything they could.
It was indeed an intense match. You know, it had viewers on the edge of their seats. Both performers did fantastic this evening. Undertaker and Triple H. Maximus here said about the chair slams. You know, I must have counted at least 17 or 18 or maybe 19. You know, almost 20, and almost an even 20, and.
Put it to you this way: at the end of the match, the chairs were bent into use.
Yeah.
Definitely.
From all the hitting, so.
That's what really impressed me. Ever since WWE did go PG, it's an extremely rare occasion when you actually even see a welt. But I was impressed. Triple H had a cut over his eye, and I mean, when you look at Undertaker's back,
Did he have his shoulder all bruised?
His shoulder was bruised. You could see the welts from where the
see
chair
and
collided
stuff.
and
It
collided
was
and collided. It was a nasty, brutal fight.
And you know he is going to be in a lot of pain because of all of those welts. But moreover, the focus on this particular event was the sheer amount of times that The Undertaker and Triple H tried to pin each other. And the referee not even getting to 3 in that count. I mean, it was definitely an intense match, and probably one of the best events. I thought it would be the main event for WrestleMania XXVIII. It was definitely a very memorable event, in my honest-to-God opinion.
Well, one memorable thing about the end was how the Undertaker's victory was actually really symbolic this time around, because the last WrestleMania when he fought Triple H, he won the match, but he couldn't get up, and he had to be carried out in a stretcher. And this time, it was like the other way around. It was like the Undertaker pretty much trying to redeem himself.
The man might have been down, but he was certainly not out, and despite the fact that he was running out of juice and steam, it didn't stop him from getting up, even after the fact that both contenders were almost exhausted, drained of all their sources at the end of it all. I mean, it was definitely, in lots of ways, historical for the event, for what it is, for what it's worth.
Yeah, like you could tell Undertaker was really determined to like make up for last year for not being able to like get himself walk out of the building. He came after Triple H, and hit him with everything he could.
Practically destroyed him.
I believe there were at least 3 Tombstone pile drivers in that match. But two of the most impressive things I saw in that match, though, the first being when Undertaker was taking chair after chair after chair to the back, Shawn Michaels begged him to let me ring the bell, and Undertaker said, "No, I will not quit." But the most impressive thing about it, at the end, after all was said and done and the battle was fought, the Undertaker won, his hand was raised, and him and Shawn Michaels picked up Triple H, and they helped walk Triple H out of the arena. That was a very, very impressive show of sportsmanship, and it's sad to say that you hardly see that anymore, and I really enjoyed seeing that.
That's very
It
true.
was all about respect, man.
Definitely.
That's
The
definitely
Undertaker
true.
is by far one of the greatest wrestlers that have probably ever lived. Shall we?
Almost
Okay,
legendary
just one last
status.
thing. We almost thought it was almost over when when Michaels went switching music right in, and then Triple H picked up with a pedigree right after.
Yeah, everyone like paused right there.
It was an impressive match. Moving on, we had CM Punk versus Y2J Chris Jericho. Really interesting matchup, and the feud and the dirt that was thrown leading up to the match was impressive. I mean, CM Punk. I mean, Chris Jericho ridiculed CM Punk of why he's straight edged and how he's a bastard, but that was a back and forth match. That was a really good match. There were several times where Chris Jericho had the walls of Jericho locked in, and I thought it was definitely over. Very few people survive, let alone manage to crawl to the ropes when they're put into the walls. But all in all, that was a very, very impressive match, and CM Punk ended up retaining, but it was a very, very good match, very hard fought battle.
I like the match. I like a match when it goes back and forth. When it's not incredibly one-sided.
Mhm.
I've seen many matches like that. It's just not that great when one guy is like in a disadvantage in the entire match, and all of a sudden he just pulls something out of his ass, and then he just beats the guy there. So I really like this one because they were both in my opinion these two guys are in the same caliber, and they just went. It was pretty even most of the match. It was pretty exciting.
Well,
To add what El Uno said, I also agree that I like an even-flowed match when it's not one-dimensional or one-sided, because it gives both fighters an advantage. It gives them the opportunity to, show themselves, demonstrate that they're capable of actually handling it rather nicely. And, the fact of the matter is, this was among one of the top-tier matches for the evening, next to the Triple H and Undertaker match that we discussed earlier. I liked that, certainly there was definitely some story before the actual match. And as El Uno stated previously, it wasn't so one-dimensional and one-sided. It had definitely some flow to it.
Oh yeah, it kept you guessing because they just kept countering move after move.
go to sleep.
Yeah.
Go to sleep. Go to sleep.
Yeah, it just yes.
I don't know where.
Yes, and they were very technical, which I love it when guys are like technical about like back to basic kind of moves because it was more or less how this match started. It was very basic wrestling move.
Well, they're both very, very, very technically proficient. I mean, Chris Jericho was trained in the Hart Dungeon, was he not? And CM Punk's not only a great brawler and striker, but he's actually really well versed in the submission style as well. So it made for a really interesting match because both guys are roughly the same build, same stature. Both are quite possibly in the prime of their youth. They can go. They have great stamina, great skill and ability. So all in all, it made out for a really, really, really interesting matchup. Moving on.